It's all on you. So I got the FinFine microphone that I actually hustled a little bit for first. I had a side gig with my sister. Remember, I was just coming off of long term disability, and it was really a financial struggle. But I had my little side hustle going on, and so I saved enough money to get my first equipment. It cost, I think, it was like $68. So I bought the microphone. Now, all the equipment that I'm going to talk about that I found that you could necessarily use or not. My budget was $202. Now there was some equipment in there that you don't have to get, but I preferred because I'll give you the reasons in a minute why I preferred to get some of this equipment that was not necessary to start your podcast. But I got it because I'm just really meticulous about some things that was showing. So the microphone was the fine with the arm. They had the arm on it, so I got that first, and then so the microphone. Remember this is live. You can't just.
There's no one in here. You're good.
Mm-hmm.
No one in here. You're good.
Nobody's in here.
No, not yet.
Okay. Yeah, they watch later. So the microphone I got, it came in different colors. Okay, so you can see it on the screen here. So if you check it out, that's not the one. That's not the first one I got. That's the second one I got. The first one I got was the arm. But anyway, either one, they work. Honestly, I wish I had gotten this one first. But I also like the other one as well. So I got the fine microphone. They come in 3 different colors. Obviously, pink. Pink is my favorite. It's not. I won't say my favorite color, but it's my favorite butt kicking color because it fights cancer. So I got the microphone, and I then got the light. Now the light is important because I actually didn't start out with the light first. I was using natural light because natural light is supposed to be the best light. So I started with natural light, and then eventually I moved into having a light panel. And the light panel, I'm telling you, made a difference when you're recording at night. If you're recording early in the morning, because there's not always sunshine outside. So I really love the light panel. And then I also got the tripod for my light panel. So I was able to use those. So now I have a mic. I have the tripod with the light panel. And I also, now this is the most important thing, everybody. You need a camera, right? Well, I didn't go out and buy this super duper expensive camera. I use my phone. Where's my phone at? I use my phone. My phone is a Samsung. What is it, Steven? S23 Ultra. It really does have really good camera quality. So I use that. So if whatever phone you have, it has the capability of recording. So you don't need to go out and buy a $2,000 camera right away. I'm not telling you to never get it, but we're on a budget, right? So we're gonna start with what we have. So use your phone. Your phone is great. Now, I didn't want to just sit anywhere, so I decided I wanted to get a desk. I got a desk. I got a folding desk, but it was not originally intended for me. It was intended for Steven because he was going to school, but he took a break from school and it just so happened I started my podcast and I borrowed his folding desk. And it turned into Sherry's folding desk because I still have it to this day and he never got it back. So the folding desk, which you should be able to see on the monitor any minute, you'll see it on the screen. It worked wonders. I loved the folding desk. I was able to sit comfortably with a chair, my office chair. So I didn't even buy a chair. Some of you might want to buy a chair. I did not buy a chair. I think you can use a chair in your house. Find a comfortable. Now, you don't have to buy a desk neither. So please remember that. You can buy, you can just use your dining room table, right? You can use your dining room table and you can use a comfortable chair in your home. So you don't have to have that in your budget. But if you do, I have the information for the desk that I have in the podcast that I will link below so you can watch and see the links of the tried and true equipment that I got. Now, for my phone, it was a little tricky trying to hold that phone. I got books behind it. I had it all wrapped up in. It was a Mickey Mouse rig job to try to get this phone to just stand up, and so I decided I wanted to get a phone tripod holder. So I absolutely love this phone tripod holder because I can move it up, down. I can take it out, capture footage. Listen, you, like I said in the podcast, you become the crew. You're the crew. You will be doing everything by yourself. But this is how you start a successful podcast. This is your 101, I would say your podcast 101 class. And you can start with a really almost no budget. So I didn't stop there. So let me just say this. I was sitting in front of my closet. I didn't want my closet being my background. So I bought the curtain first. So I got this pink curtain. I was hanging it up, and it was hanging up all kinds of ways. So I bought a tension rod to hang my curtain on. It gave it more of an elegant look. It didn't look all crazy up, down, and all over the place. I really liked that it did not show my closet for the background. So these are two things you don't need, but you can get it depending on how you feel about your background. I'm just very particular, so I didn't want just any background. So those can be in your budget. Now, all the things that I talked about, all the things that I thought was necessary cost me about $202. All the other things that I don't think you necessarily need to get, but it's a want, that was another $66. I think it was $64. The tension rod and the curtains came out to about, I think, $64. So altogether, I was looking at a budget of $266. Now that's not bad, right? That's not bad at all. So I mean, I'm gonna stop here. If anybody have any questions, we got anybody on? Okay. Well, I just want to say this. Make sure when you start in the podcast, you start your own podcast. You want to make sure it's something that you're passionate about. You want to make sure it's something you want to do. Because I'm going to tell you one thing about podcasting. It does require you to be consistent. Consistency is key when you become a podcaster. Make sure you're posting. Make sure you're giving value so people are coming back and seeing what you have to talk about today. And they want to also make sure, oh, wow, she's serious. She's posting all the time. She's giving some good content. So make sure that it's a passion and that it's something that you want to do. Now, I chose to do it because I wanted to share what my life would be like after making it through surviving breast cancer.
Yeah, we have one question from Donna Walker. Did you buy all your equipment before starting your podcast?
Oh, did I buy all my equipment? Well, no. I actually started with I already had the phone. That was a given. I already had the foldable desk. The rest of it, I had to buy as I was going. But I had everything I needed to start filming, to start my podcast. I had a phone. I had natural light. I had a mic because I worked, like I said, I had a side gig with Donna. And so I was working on my side gig to come up with my money for my mic. Once I got that mic, game was on. I was like, okay, I'm gonna start my podcast. But I'm gonna tell you, I was nervous. I was nervous, but yeah, I started my podcast. And so no, I didn't buy before I started buying, and I started buying as I was going. Yeah, that was a good question. And I ordered everything on Amazon. Also, I want to say I had some solicited advice about some of the equipments that would work best for me, because if you look around at some of the other podcasters that's giving you advice on what equipment you need, I didn't buy everything like the mixer because it wasn't a need for me, but it depended on what type of podcast you're starting is what you may need for your podcast. So I would love to have a mixer, but I will get it one day, just not now. So the mixer is still on my list of things to get. So thank you for asking that question. Any other questions?
All right, second question is, how long did it take until you had everything?
Oh, okay. So, like I said, I had already pre-owned some things, like the desk. So how long did it take me? I would say about a month to 2 months, because I had to wait per pay period or wait to save something. So I would get like one thing at a time or two things at a time to start my podcast, the little things at a time. So I would say about 2 months to get everything. But I was up and running as soon as I got the mic. And the mic I got, when I decided I wanted to do it, I got the mic maybe about 2 or 3 weeks later. Yeah. I was ready. So any good questions? I mean, I'm here to help those beginners to get out there and start your journey. I just want to share mine as well. So, and I want to thank everybody that watches me, because I have viewers from all over the world watching my podcast. So thank you. So next week, I'm going to have another live stream, and I want to really talk about leverage of what's the best platform to put your podcast on. And the reason I kind of started with just one, that was YouTube. But then I started moving into Facebook, Instagram, and then I eventually moved into TikTok, which is actually pretty interesting. But these different platforms have different they're just different. So you're going to figure out what you want to. But so we'll talk about that later, because I want to also talk about how you can also use platforms to leverage your podcast and find what works for you. And also, I want to talk about the how to, if you want to do just like audio only, what type of service you can use to post your podcast. So that's pretty interesting. So it's called a distributor, I believe. They distribute your distribution. So anyway, that's next week. So I want you to come back next week. You have one?
I have another question.
Okay.
So when you decided that you wanted to have a podcast, and you know you needed to get equipment, I'm just curious to know, how did you figure out what you needed? Who did you watch? Were there different people that encouraged you? I know you made mention about your sister, but were there people online that you followed, YouTube, Facebook, any different ones that helped you to identify what equipment you needed?
Well, I mean, some things is obvious. You need a camera. I thought I was going to have to say, hey, Sister Donna, can you tell me what's the best camera to use to start your podcast? She was like, well, you can use your phone. And so, I mean, I did watch some podcasts, some podcasters that gave you advice on what equipment was needed to start. But I was still kind of not sure where I was going with that. So I started asking Donna about it. So I did watch a couple of them, like, who was? I think it was Omar. I did watch him. He was pretty good. Later on, I started watching David Shands. I watched his. And some names I don't even remember. I was just going and trying to see what everyone was talking about. And they all actually kind of had a little bit of a difference in what they were recommending. So I did watch some podcasters, and I took what was good for me. I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, I didn't buy everything. I didn't buy those. Some things were it just didn't fit in my budget. So,
one other question: once you first recorded your video, because I know you made mention about the equipment that you have, were there also some software that you also needed, or that you either needed to subscribe to, like get a subscription for, or did you just use free software that was either on your phone, your computer, or on the web? Can you talk about some of the equipment, software, like the more software-related stuff that you used when you first started your podcast?
So yes, that is a very good question. I wanted to cover a little bit more of that on Saturday of next week, but I can talk about a little bit of it today. So there is some free.
Well, just let me refine that, because you said that I know this is like your 101 and then what equipment you need, but you also needed to edit your footage.
Yes.
When you first started.
Yes.
So maybe we can wait till next week. I didn't realize that was going to be a question for next week, but I just thought it was sort of related to equipment.
Well, we could go into details of it next week, but I can talk about, okay, so there are a lot of free software out there. I'm only familiar with CapCut. CapCut has a free version of using a software, and what did I use it for? That you may be asking out there. I use it for editing my videos. I was learning how to cut, to edit videos. If I didn't want something, I took it out, or I wanted to add more into the video. I wanted to add sound. I wanted to add effects. I wanted to add music. I mean, that CapCut was the software that I used. They have a free version of it. I eventually got to using the subscription version, which I use right now to this very day. Also, what else do I have? I did get some subscriptions that you can buy, because I was trying to be very conscious of not putting music on there that was copyright infringement. So I made sure that I subscribed to services that had copyright-free copyright free music that you can use to put on your videos. But let me tell you, CapCut does have music, but I didn't. I wanted more options. I can say it that way. It wasn't the best, but I chose to use a service for that.
How did you know where to put your equipment once you purchased it all? It's like, how did you know how to set it all up? Like, how did you know where to place your camera, how close or far back? How did you know where to put your microphone, how close or far back? Should it be on the table? Should it be on a boom? I think you made mention about a boom arm.
Yeah, but the boom arm was for the mic. Okay, so I did all of this by trial and error. Okay, so what you do is, so I already had a mic with the boom arm, but I didn't like it connected to my desk. So I had to get another small desk and connect it to that. And you might be asking why I did not like it. Well, it was because it would make all this noise, and you just touch the desk and you can hear all the spring noise from the boom arm. So I started connecting it to another desk, and then I would just position it right in front of me and I'm still learning how to put the mic where it's supposed to be. But I was learning all that as I was going. Also, again, I would ask some solicited advice of how I should position the mic. And not only that, I got information about what kind of mic I should have, which is a dynamic mic. You can sit it more like in front of you, and I forgot to mention that, but that it will be in that link. Everything that I have will be in that link, and you'll know exactly which one you should be getting. So the camera. The camera was the hardest thing for me, was because I was not used to looking at a camera. You know, everybody said, look at the camera, smile, cheese, you do all that. But now you got to look at this camera and really like make sure you're looking in the right spot. That was my hardest thing. If you go back and look at some of my very first videos, I was not looking in the right spot for that camera. Okay, so I was not looking in the right spot for the camera. So I had to learn how to look in the right spot. And again, that was I had a seasoned person that helped me with that. Where to look. I was learning how to position the camera. I was learning how to use the natural lights. What time is the best time to record if you're trying to use natural light? That's why I wanted to get the panel light, because it helped me with controlling the light when I didn't have natural light at the time I was recording. So yeah, those were really good questions. And wow, I just had to think about them because it was all trial and error. Yeah, I'm just sitting here reminiscing. But so listen, I am here. I am recording out of Maker Street Studios. If you have any more questions, which I feel like somebody does, you have any more questions?
No, I'm sorry. Sherry, thank you for having this workshop or whatever you want to call this.
Yeah.
But I thank you for having it. No, I didn't have any more questions. I just wanted to make sure that you covered all the areas you wanted to cover. Did you want to talk at all about any type of background things, like practicals, how to fill up how to make your background look more appealing?
Appealing. Well, definitely didn't want the closet door, one. And I started using my beautiful plants that I was growing in my, cleaning my air for me and everything. I decided to put that in the background. I had a couple of statues or elephants, and I will use that in the background. I think that really softens the mood. It makes people more comfortable when they're watching your video. It just gives them a more cozy, I really want to sit down and listen to what she's talking about. So it kind of softens the mood for you. So that was the background. So between the curtains, some plant life. Plant life is always awesome. I got a whole bunch of tons of podcasts on out planting, being out one with nature. And just make sure you genuine. Make sure you have that great attitude. and just come real. Just come real as you can be. Just you telling them just what it is for you, what it means to you, how it feels for you.
And one last question, and I promise I'll stop talking. How did you deal with trying to find a quiet place, or did you have to? How did you manage sound? Because with microphones, and when you're trying to do a podcast, the microphones pick up sound from everywhere. It could hear you when you're putting your hand on the table.
Yes.
It can hear when other people are moving around in the space, or if they're in another room and they're making a lot of noise. How did you manage sound like that?
Okay, so how did I manage sound? First, you got to get a big sign that says, I had a sign on the door that says, do not disturb recording, podcast in progress. So you don't want people just knocking on your door. And listen, you have to cut a couple of times. Cut, start over. And when you got a good part, there's nobody knocking at your door ruining that part. So make sure that you put a do not disturb sign when you are podcasting on your door. So I definitely had that on my door because I already have a dynamic mic that's really kind of targeted to my voice. I have to make sure I talked in the mic and not somewhere else. So yeah, I just had to control my environment a little bit in order to get a better sound for my podcast. Yep. And also sometimes the fan is on. You got to turn off the fan. Air conditioner's on. You got to turn off the air conditioner. And if it's already hot, you got the air conditioner turned off. Turned off. Let me tell you sweating. Glasses fogging up. It's the whole thing. So yeah, you just want to make sure you pick a good time to record, and just be really mindful of your surrounding and your environment when you do record, because people are kind of not so forgiving when you got a lot of noise going on. Try not to touch your desk. Try not to have your jewelry hitting them, because all that makes noise. It makes noise.
Okay, you did have a comment from the chat with Miss Hollywood. She said, "Great info." I know I said I was gonna stop talking. I know I can't help myself.
She can't help herself. She can't.
So my last thing is, and I really promise this time it's my last one. What advice would you give? Because I know this is all for new podcasters,
Yes.
or those who are
Yes.
looking to get into this area.
Mm.
What would you say to them to sort of push them to start, and what they should do in order to try and keep their confidence up?
Okay. That one's a good one. Okay, so push to start means first, try to shoot for perfection. Okay? Try to shoot for just doing it and embracing who you are. So don't be, okay, I got that wrong, I'm not going to release it. Just release it. That first podcast is going to be your measuring stick to how you're going to improve and you're going to get better. Now you're getting better. You're going to become really refined with time. So I would say, don't be afraid of mistakes. Just learn from them. Let them be who you are, and don't shoot for perfection, because none of us are perfect. We're going to but people are going to accept us with all of these imperfections, these beautiful imperfections that we have. We're going to get accepted for those. So just remember, don't shoot for perfection. Just start just by encouraging yourself to push that button and keep it moving. And secondly, I want you to always stay consistent, because you will not get better. Because you remember when you were kids, a lot of us, I don't know, a lot of you guys, did you guys play sports? I play sports, but there's that one, practice makes perfect. And again, I know that sounds kind of contradictory. I say don't shoot for perfection. But all I'm saying is just the more you practice, the better you get. We're not going to reach perfection, but we're going to get better. We're going to become more comfortable, and we're going to have that muscle memory that's going on. So definitely just practice and stay consistent. Consistency is key. Consistency is key. So if you need help with something, maybe talk to your friends, but please don't come with some, just come, bring you every time, and you will always find content for yourself every time. So did I answer all the questions? Did I get them?
Yes. Miss Hollywood says, definitely have to learn from your mistakes and take a leap of faith.
Yes, I agree. Because if you don't do it, you're gonna have regret. I don't want to have regret in my life. After having gone through what I went through, no regret for me. I'm gonna just trudge. Is that the right way? Forward. I'm going to move forward and just believe in myself. Jump out there and have that faith. And we don't know what's going to happen. That might be the best thing we ever did in our life. And I'm going to say it is going to be the best thing you're going to do in your life. So don't be afraid. Just go out there and do it. Push that button and run away. That's what I did. Honestly, I pushed the button and I just shut down the computer and I went to bed. I didn't think about it. I just did it. The next morning I got up. Oh, that wasn't so bad. And nothing came and got me in the middle of the night. I'm good. So let me try another one. The police can come and arrest me and say, what you doing? I literally felt good about it. And I released another one and another one and another one. And you know what? One thing about podcasting is always a continuous learning process. I didn't even know what a short was, okay? I was doing long content, and I like doing long content, but I learned short content was also a way to break up your long content and repurpose your podcast. So sometimes that will save you when you're saying, okay, I'm working on a project. I need to do some research. Let me just kind of use this long content and break it down into short content. So yes, that's very good. Thank you, Miss Hollywood, for reaching out. Any other questions, Stephen?
No.
My handy assistant. Okay.
No questions, but she did say perfect people lose the ability to learn, in my opinion. I love learning.
Yes, yeah, exactly. You know, you can't be a person that only thinks that you can teach. But you can't be taught. So you got to be willing to be a teacher, and you also got to be willing to be taught. Okay, so you're right. If a person is perfect, then their mind is shut down to anything else anybody else is going to say to them, because they already know it when they don't. Okay, they don't. So while they sitting there being perfect, I'm moving on. So yes, perfect people that definitely lose out on just learning and being better. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining this podcast. I definitely want to thank everybody for coming and having a spot of tea with me in the morning and doing a workshop. I am here at Maker Street Studios for all of you that is in the Philadelphia area and need podcast needs. I think I check out the Maker Street Studios. I want to make sure I say it correct because there's a studios in the studio. Maker Street Studios. So come and check it out. Beautiful facility, top-notch technology. And so come check it out. But until next time, I will see you guys next Saturday, maybe at 10 or 11, for another 101 podcast questions that you may have. So until next time, you guys have a great cup of tea. Bye.